let's talk about these Cowboys real quick because, like I said, we talked about it yesterday, in fact, Mike McCarthy, and we played the audio talking about you're just going to need to see some level of advancement. You're going to need to see some level of step up from various players, especially guys that are early in their development, having a second year, third year jump, those types of things. And so that got me thinking, which Cowboys all the way around this team need to step up this upcoming season? Again, Franklin & Franklin Injury Attorney text line, 877-881-1053. And Blake, I'll ask you, is there a particular name that jumps to mind for you when you go, hey, need a step up from on the Cowboys? Oh, yeah, it's definitely insert name here.
Yeah, I'm looking at the defense side of the ball.
Fair enough.
I'm looking at the defensive line.
Absolutely.
And I'm kind of between two names for different reasons.
Interesting. Oh, there's a second name.
I'm between like Mozzie Smith for very obvious reasons. You've let go of all your defensive tackles practically. I'm looking at the defensive tackle depth chart. It's Osa, Mozzie, Golston.
And then I think you also have, what's my guy's name? Davis?
I think it's Davis, I guess, he's practice squad. I'm looking at the official depth chart. Those are the three that they have on here right now. And Mozzie,
you still have Junior Fijelko then,
yes,
right? Okay.
Yes. He's listed as a D end on here.
Okay.
So do what you want with that information. Those are guys. Osa was awesome last year.
Yes.
He cannot do it alone, and he's a 3-tech.
He is.
That 1-tech guy is you drafted to be Mozzie. You spent a first-round draft pick on him. We know all the stories about his weight. I'm not going to rehash that. He has to be a game changer. He cannot just be like serviceable. Like this team is not like loaded at linebacker and also where you can just be, you can be all right. Because what happens, Reggie, when your defensive tackles are average? Those offensive linemen climb to the second level even quicker. And now you have a guy in Eric Kendricks who is in the twilight of his career, still good IQ-wise, but not going to be sprinting sideline to sideline. Now he's getting blocked earlier than expected.
Yeah, no defense is going to go well when the middle of your defense is not playing. So the spine of your defense has to be stable.
I'm between him.
Well, let's stay there. We don't have to go anywhere there because for me, it feels like they are giving him a vote of confidence in this regard, right? Again, we saw what the Jonathan Hankins deal ended up being. We knew that he was going to Seattle, but we got information that that's a 1-year, $2 million deal.
Seems pretty easy.
Seems very affordable to the point where I understand. Like there's a feeling that the Joneses wouldn't shell out money for anybody to come back. However, right, that's a choice. That's a decision. And Cowboys fans understand that is a choice. That is the decision. And with that being the case, what that decision seems to say, right or wrong, is that they are putting a level of belief that Mozzie Smith will step up and earn that role as your one technique down in, down out. And so he needs to step into that belief for this team. And
even more, like you said, them letting those guys go. And the more we talk draft and hear Brian and all the smart people talk about who they're targeting, as much as I love T'Vondre Sweat, there's not a lot of T'Vondre Sweat to Cowboys or defensive tackle. It doesn't look like they're going to use one of their first 3 picks on the defensive tackle. Now, they could. Obviously, the draft hasn't happened. But let's just say they don't. That's even more. You need the guy you drafted last year to step up. There's not going to be another guy that's like, we'll just slot him in and it's
then
okay.
You draft another guy. Are you anticipating that guy immediately comes in and is day one starting caliber?
So
it's
Mozzie's got a lot of pressure, and I would you say it's warranted? Like he has the ball this year.
Yeah,
he's
absolutely
got to ball.
Absolutely.
And I don't even think he can be just average. Like you can't just be like for a PFF grade references, like a 55. You can't just be a guy that's just on the field taking up snaps. Like you have to be somewhat of a difference maker for that first round pick that we used on you. Who's yours guy? I got another guy, but I want to
go ahead and throw another one in there. Please do.
My guy that I have the second most eyes on is going to be Jordan Lewis. And the reason I say that is because Trayvon Diggs coming off an ACL is going to be one of your boundary corners. I would love Deron Bland to be in the slot, but it looks like we're going Deron Bland on the outside again, which I thought was kind of up and down, which means Jordan Lewis is going to be your slot corner. And if you remember, Tolos, through the first half of the year, he was struggling. I was on this show. Many people on this show were kind of on his head. Wasn't playing well. Was kind of getting beat up, especially I even remember one game in specific, that Carolina Panthers game. If you remember, it was like 17-10. It was really close at half. That's because Adam Thielen was eating Jordan Lewis for dinner. Chopped cheese, was just running all over the field, running cross
I really could go for a chopped cheese. I'm just hungry. Sorry, my bad. I'm locked in.
No, you're good. And he played really well in the second half of the season. He's got to do that all year if you're not going to bring back Stephon Gilmore, which looks like the more free agency goes on, you're not going to, which says to me the Cowboys is going, we believe in you, Jordan Lewis. They gave that extension. They brought him back. So I think there's a lot of warranted pressure on him to really produce in the slot and show that Stephon Gilmore is not needed, which I think he is. The Cowboys obviously think he is not.
And Gilmore, there was reports earlier today that he was talking with the Panthers where he could maybe return to Carolina. I love this from the 817. So we're just going to let Sam Williams off the hook? Absolutely not. That was the next name that was going to come up, at least for me personally, because Sam
was 3 on for me.
Okay, yeah, so we were both in that same place. Like, you look at this roster, and depth when it comes to pass rush is one of those places where you took a little bit of a hit, right? I don't want to ignore the fact that you had a lot of guys that you could turn to in various situations to rush the passer, but you've allowed some of those guys to lapse. You've not brought some of them back, and Sam Williams is one of those guys that's there, right? And so Sam Williams is going to need to play a bigger role in that, and it seems like he is capable of doing that. And like, I think that's the good thing is I think we have seen, contrary to like the Mozzie Smith, like there's 214 mentions it, not really evidence of seeing that step up yet. It's just going to have to appear. We've seen some evidence that we've seen Jordan Lewis, as you mentioned. We've seen him do some of those things. We've seen Sam Williams be good. We just need to be a little cleaner.
And Sam Williams has been good in spurts. The more we put him on there, we've seen the boneheaded mistakes and out there. And
yeah.
How does Zimmer and him, you think, fit? Because in a vacuum, opposite. Zimmer, very buttoned up. You do not make mistakes on my team. Sam Williams, great talent, outburst, but can sometimes make some boneheaded plays. Do you think Zimmer is going to hone him in and make him the best player?
Absolutely.
Or could see him getting frustrated and like, hey, I don't want anything to do with it?
I think he'll get on track with Zim, because like I think some of the Sam Williams stuff, again, it's going to be individual. The individual has to accept the level of responsibility. But remember, especially when it comes to like the special teams, which is where it really became apparent, it's because what does Bone Fossils want? Like Bone Fossil emphasized, just get like if we get a little bit, we're going to err on the side of being aggressive.
Yeah, not caution.
That was the coaching rhetoric that was given to Sam Williams, and he definitely erred, but he erred on that side. If then you come in with Mike Zimmer, who's like, no, we're going to get the details right. I believe in Sam. We've seen the talent in Sam Williams. I believe that you'll be able to hone that in.
And I love that you say that. Sam Williams, with the right patience and coaching, could be a really disruptive type.
Absolutely,
even
100%.
I think people forget, second round pick in 2022, 56 overall. That's, if you don't follow football that well, or even if you do, you know how valuable a second round pick is. This is not an NBA second round pick. Like an NFL second round pick is, we project you to start at some point. You were projected. For sure. You only have so many picks, and those guys in the top 3 rounds are projected starters. So at some point, he's now going to be going into his 3rd year. He's got to produce. And I think opposite of DeMarcus Lawrence or Micah, whenever he's in, you're going to have opportunities. Those guys garner a lot of attention. So Sam Williams is not going to be facing double teams. It's going to be one-on-one. And I think he can out-athleticize, out-talent a lot of guys. He's going to be doing the details, getting the footwork right, not having boneheaded late hit plays where the coach has to take you out. So I agree. Sam Williams has to, and I think will step up for this Dallas Cowboys.
I think it's interesting, though, because a couple of people were like, Sam only makes mistakes on special teams. Give Sam his credit. And I thought I was trying to do that. Like,
we believe
there's a
Sam.
lot of talent there. We've seen the evidence of that, and he's played well. He just needs to get it cleaner. I think that was my big point, is that he's going to get a bigger role. Just continue to do the good things, and cut out some of the bad things. I thought that was ultimately the point there. But I guess if I need to reiterate that, that's on me. I will do that. And he's going to be one of those guys that I anticipate to step up, but it's going to be needed for this Cowboys team. How about this one here? And I think this one's going to be important, especially understanding the way that the Cowboys have kind of gone about this, and maybe knowing the ways in which they don't have a lot of draft picks.
I think I know.
They can't address all these. Okay, let me see. Do you know where I'm going?
Terence Steel.
That's a great one that I wanted to get to. So let's talk about Terence Steel real quick.
I thought you were going with draft picks, and you can't fix everything on the line.
No, but I think that's a great point. I want to get there. And so, actually, let's go ahead and start there. And I do want to lean on, we don't have as much time. Jim Harbaugh had a fantastic conversation at the league meetings where he talked about how the offensive line is the only position group in football that does not depend on other positions to be great, but is needed by other positions to be great.
Correct.
And that's where you're going, and that's the foundation of what you're doing here. And so with that being the case, you've got 2, positions that you actively need, that you have gaps in, right? Yep. But that does not ignore the fact that your right tackle had a streaky season last year, had a rough season last year. He needs to get back on the horse and help you out in a big way, both in the pass blocking and run blocking. It can't be one or the other. You need to show your worth on that right side, especially, and this isn't necessarily him as an individual. You just need to be better as an individual. But on the outside, for us looking at it, we get to see the reports of your contract when it comes to that money.
And he's making a good amount of money. He's not bottom of the chart when it comes to PFF grade 50.8, right about league average, a little bit below it. I just think it's gone under the radar. I was on him all season about not playing well, but now it's like left tackle as a whole, centers, and you're like, oh wait,
other
our
priorities.
Right tackle wasn't even good. So now we have either nobody or we have subparness, where the only place you feel good about is your guards, and we're trying to move one of those to left tackle now. So it's like Terence Steel has to be awesome. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah.
Because now you have to fit. They might do first round and second round, center, left tackle, whatever order you want to do. Now that you're not going to draft 3 linemen, I don't think, in a row.
And I mean, again, you have him. Yeah, the contract exists there. So yeah, you definitely need Terence Steel to get better. The place where I was indeed going before, another place where you created a hole, and obviously rightfully so, it was trying to fix a mistake that you made the season prior. Michael Gallup was cut. You needed third wide receiver.
Also underrated.
Hello, Jaylen Tolbert, right? Yeah. Jaylen Tolbert, he showed you some good things. In fact, he basically took that job anyways towards the end of the season. We need you to step up even further into a young man, like especially considering, and this isn't fair necessarily, but we didn't see him get any work in his first year. Now you've seen a little bit of development and looking like he could be there. Now you definitely need to show up, especially because your team needs you to be one of those guys, especially if they don't go and do anything late in free agency. And even if they do something late in free agency, do you feel like there's a wide receiver out there that you're like, oh yeah, I would love that to be my third wide
I don't
receiver?
want any wide receiver that's on the free agent market right now. Personally, I think most of them are a little bit older, and I don't think you want to pay the Tyler Boyd price right now for a wide receiver 3. I agree with you. I think that our boy Tolbert is going to have to step up. He's had flashes of greatness and flashes of inconsistency. When you let go of Gallup, this guy, I don't know if people realize how important a wide receiver 3 is. The more pass happy teams get, you're running a good amount of empty sets. You're going to have times where 3 receivers are on the field. And if you have one that the defense doesn't respect, I'm not saying Tolbert's that guy. I'm just saying if you have one the defense don't respect, that makes CeeDee Lamb's job hard. It makes his job that much harder.
Yeah.
That makes Jake Ferguson's job that much harder. Like, because now we're really just shading like a slot linebacker on him and kind of give him a little bump, because we know Dak's not really going to the ball with him. We're really going to show a lot of attention to CD. Now he's getting bracketed. Man, why did CD only have 3 targets in the first half, or 3 catches, I'll say? Yeah, because the defense is staring him down because they don't think any of the rest of the guys are a threat. So I think Tolbert has to be in a big jump. I'm sure that they were monitoring him quite heavily to see, do we need to spend a late draft pick on a receiver, or do we expect Tolbert to make that wide receiver 3 jump?
Yeah, and so those are the guys that I think we're looking at that, hey man, you guys need to come on stronger when it comes to this upcoming season. Mozzie Smith, clearly. You mentioned Jordan Lewis. We talked about Sam Williams, Terence Steele, and Jaylen Tolbert. So, I mean, again, a month out from the draft, there's still a lot of things to be addressed by this Cowboys team. It's one of the things that's frustrating, but that's where they are. And because they can't address everything in the draft, these guys going to need to step into some roles and play well for your Cowboys this upcoming season.